I'm going to make some outrageous claims right off the bat, so I need you to bear with me. First, this sandwich looks like comedian Ken Jang. Second, the Conservatives have made the UK a shithole. I would rather live in a dimension that has one man in it, and he has a face in the back of his head that insists for the rest of eternity, gouge my eyes out, go on, do it. And every time you do something mildly entertaining pops out of his mouth like a copy of People magazine, which is pretty much the exact experience of catching the London Tube, but with less ads for shit comedies on Channel 4, so still marginally better. Third, Brexit doesn't matter at all. It is just a distraction that caught on because it sounds like the way people in Birmingham say breakfast, and so it's associated in people's minds with baked beans. Yeah, I know that's going to get me 300 dislikes right off the bat. Triggered. And fourth, I don't know if anyone hasn't noticed this, but the Brexit Party is just the Conservative Party. The dead giveaway is they're not running in any Conservative seats. Come on. Throw in a couple of decoy seats to make it harder to decipher than an episode of Blue's Clues. Clearly the Brexit Party only exists to soak up the anti-immigrant vote from people who vote on migration but have discovered that the Conservative Party, despite saying they're anti-migration, is, how do I put this lightly, isn't at all. Look, net migration is increased under the Conservatives. How have they convinced you it hasn't? Look at it standing on your head. But now I'm feeling dizzy. I'm sick of these temporary fixes. Brexiteers keep bragging that since the Leave vote, net migration is down from European countries, which begs the question, is a large population of the UK still beef eaters that think that after Turkey, there's just a bunch of sea monsters? How have you forgotten about the global powerhouse that is Tajikistan? The Tories have just increased migration from countries outside of the EU because their major donors are companies like Tesco, and Tesco has a problem because it wants a continual stream of ever-increasing customers and doesn't want to pay any tax. They have the exact opposite philosophy in life to a gym junkie. They want all gain and no pain. And under the Tories, they have gotten so many gains that if they were a person, they would be this man. Oh shit! I'm drowning, son! The Tories have cut corporate tax by nearly 10%, which has led to huge budget cuts and made the average UK citizen an involuntary Hare Krishna, except their version of the Bhagavad Gita is watching the Graham Norton show, which is sad enough without the poverty. But look at these figures. Thanks to Tory austerity, there are 14 million UK citizens living in poverty. There's only 66 million of you. That means over a quarter of your country is now that lovable Cockney kid from 7-Up, in the age of the iPhone. Which means that instead of having a bunch of cheap marbles, they have a Tamagotchi that shat itself to death 10 years ago. I was a stable boy and even the horsies produce less shit. It's getting to the point where you think, is chav chic still in fashion in London, or is everyone now just a chav? People can't afford to spend in retail. The average UK citizen isn't even living from paycheck to paycheck anymore. They're just living in debt. How are the Tories this far ahead when their accomplishments in office are turning you from human being into debt battery? Yeah, because we're long-lasting batteries though, aren't we? Loving that. Oh no, Gerald's dead. They're not helping you. Thanks to the Tories' austerity measures, if Oliver Twist were alive, he'd be giving you a penny. They exist purely to serve their donors, and their donors want profits to forever expand, and that can only happen in one of two ways. The first way is that you can have a few people buying a lot of things, but then that would mean that people would have to be paid livable wages and these companies would be taxed, heaven forbid. So you're only left with option two, which is to have many people buying a few things, which is why migration has increased under the Conservatives. So isn't it incredible to think that one of the biggest uproars in modern political history, this generation's Franz Ferdinand assassination, occurred due to the insatiable desire for people to buy chef chalkboards. Today's special is a mischief, yes? And if you mix a population explosion with massive government budget cuts, you know what that equals? Death. I don't want to trivialise that point, so I'll use this skeleton to highlight the seriousness of it. Oh no, not Curly, the skeleton. Since the Tories have gained office, the number of homeless people has doubled. In 2 years' time, the child poverty rate of the UK will be 40%. That is higher than Ethiopia. So the fact that people are saying Corbyn's going to turn the UK into Venezuela, that would be an upgrade. Because under the Tories, you're heading for being a national UNICEF ad. I will see in a couple of years on Australian television appeals for just £6 a day. Make sure that little Bosley here doesn't go without eating chicken cottage for dinner. I turned the bones into a necklace for me mum, I did. According to the IPPR, Conservative austerity measures have resulted in 130,000 preventable deaths. And what's most disturbing is that the austerity measures were implemented not for any economic reason, purely ideological. In other words, the Tories have killed 130,000 people because they wanted to. And look, I get the impulse. I get that some of those deaths might have been people who like grime music, but it can't be all of them. And the Brexit Party is right on board with these deaths as they are handing the Conservatives a majority in Parliament. So at the end of the day, what actually is their plan to decrease migration to Great Britain? Make it worse than the countries that the people are migrating from? Exactly. Then there won't be an incentive for them to come here. Checkmate. God, I wish that guy was the host of Top Gear. I get why you hate Corbyn. After going through verifiably the biggest character assassination campaign in British political history, it's hard not to. I'm a true believer, and even I'm starting to have my doubts after I read that he rides a, quote, communist bicycle. Because it's red. Exposed like the filthy commie! Also, apparently he stole sandwiches that were meant for veterans, but I don't believe that one, because veterans don't eat sandwiches, they eat dog food. He's a Marxist. Oh, what a substantive argument. A name. What do you mean by Marxist? He wants to upgrade your nation's rail system and not reduce corporate taxes. Well, let me ask you a question. At what point between a 19% and 28% corporate tax rate do you become a disciple of Lenin? 20%? Just insane salacious smear after insane salacious smear over invented claims of anti-Semitism and the fact he owns a bike. Those are reasons you shouldn't elect a prime minister, are they? You do realise you elected a guy who allegedly fucked a dead pig, right? Miliband was crucified for even eating one. Can you imagine if Corbyn was even 100 metres away from a pig? It'd be sold as some satanic, anti-Semitic vision ritual. Porky Peeper, keep your snout out of number 10. You'll never be PM. Even if there's things you legitimately hate about Corbyn, such as the fact that he looks like he sleeps with a nightcap on and a dressing gown, forever holding a candle asking, "Oh, now who could that be at this hour?" Even if all the smears about Corbyn were even remotely correct. So, it would be like returning a bowl of soup with a fly in it and demanding to be fed poison. That is what the Tories are. They are systematically removing everything about Great Britain that made it great. Not my opinion, the UN's. So you may not appreciate the phrase food for thought now, but give the Tories a couple more years. You will. What, someone said food? Where? Like this video to cancel out the dislikes of, look at this muppet. How's it not a communist bicycle? It's red. Well, if that's the logic to go by, how do you explain this?
Please share and comment below. Comment.